starting at fact number 10. So there is this term, Hari Merdeka, and it's also known as Hari Kebangsaan, and that means National Day. That is actually the official Independence Day of Malaysia. The Malayan Declaration of Independence was officially announced on the 31st of August 1957, and the efforts for independence was really spearheaded by Tunku Abdul Rahman, and he was the first Prime Minister of Malaysia. Now, transitioning over to a pretty sad fact, the Malayan tiger is a tiger subspecies that is native to peninsular Malaysia. The Malayan tiger can be found in the southern as well as the central parts of the Malay Peninsula, and it also has been classified as critically endangered on the IUCN Red List. And as of 2019, the general manager of Perak State Parks Corporation, Mohammed Shah Reza Hussain, he said that the species could become extinct in the next 6 or 7 years if immediate action isn't taken. And like, these measures need to be drastic measures. In a statement, he said this: about 7 to 8 years ago, we had more than 60 tigers in Bilam Temenggur, but the latest studies showed that there are only 23 left in this rainforest. This shows that the population has declined by about 60%. If we don't take action now, I'm sure within the next 2 or 3 years, we would have less than 10 tigers left, which is not enough for reproduction. And within 6 or 7 years, the species will be extinct. Now, despite all of this though, poaching continues to run rampant in Malaysia. Next up at fact number 8, this church here, St. George's Church, it was established back in the year 1816, and it's an Anglican church that's located in the city of Georgetown in Penang, Malaysia. And what's significant about this is that it is the oldest Anglican church that was built for use in Southeast Asia. And on the property of the church, you're going to find a memorial for Francis Light. Now, in the year 2007, the St. George's Church became the only structure on Penang Island to be declared one of Malaysia's 50 National Heritage Treasures. Now, have you heard of the Penang Bridge? The Penang Bridge is about 13.5 kilometers or 8.4 miles long, and it's a dual carriageway toll bridge and also a controlled access highway. The bridge connects Butterworth, that's located on the mainland side of the state, with Gelugor on the island, crossing the Selatan Strait. This bridge was inaugurated on September 14, 1985, and it is the first road connection that goes between the Malay Peninsula and the island. Now, the bridge is also pretty well known. It's known as the second longest bridge in Malaysia, and it's also the 5th longest bridge in all of Southeast Asia. Next up, I want to talk about the Perdana Putra Complex. Now, this is located in Precinct 1, and it's right over the Putrajaya Lake as well as Putrajaya Mosque, and it also overlooks Dataran Putra. It's a 6-story structure. It makes up the Prime Minister of Malaysia's office as well as the offices of the Deputy Prime Minister and the Chief Secretary to the government. It's also a pretty unique looking structure. The design of it is also really interesting because the Perdana Putra Complex really uses elements from Islamic Mughal architecture. Now for fact number 5. Mount Kinabalu over in Malaysia is the highest mountain in the Malay archipelago, as well as it's actually the highest mountain in all of Malaysia. Now, it's said that the mountain as well as its surrounding areas are some of the most important biological sites in the entire world. So check this. It's estimated that there's between 5,000 and 6,000 species of plants, as well as 326 species of birds, and more than 100 mammals located around this area. It's such an important piece to Malaysia that Mount Kinabalu is also listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Quickly, I want to talk about the currency in Malaysia. The currency that's used in Malaysia is actually known as the ringgit. Now, what does that even mean? It's a unique term. Well, it means jagged in the Malay language, and this also refers to the edges of the Spanish silver dollars that were used in the 16th century, as well as throughout the 17th century. Fact number 3, we're talking about this fruit here. Now, this is native to Malaysia. It is the pomelo, and it also goes by the scientific name Citrus maxima. Now, this fruit, if you didn't guess it by the scientific name, it's a big fruit. As a matter of fact, it's the largest citrus fruit in the world. It can reach a size of about a small football, and it weighs up to 2.2 to even 6.7 pounds, which works out to be 1 to 3 kilograms. Now the taste is said to be comparable to grapefruit. I personally haven't tried these before, but the fruit also is known as jabong or jabola depending on where you go in the world. While we're on the topic of talking about the biggest things though, I do gotta mention the Sarawak Chamber. The Sarawak Chamber is actually the largest known cave chamber in the entire world by area, and it's the second largest by volume. Now it's located in Gunung Mulu National Park in the Malaysian state of Sarawak, and they say that this cave chamber is so big that it can fit 40 Boeing 747 planes without the wings of the planes overlapping each other just to fit in. No, side by side, they can just stack in there, 40 of them. And we all know 747s are massive planes. And the final thing I want to share in this episode is about Jimmy Choo. Well, if you didn't know, the world famous shoe designer Jimmy Choo was actually born in Penang, Malaysia back in the year 1948. Ladies love his shoes. Celebrities, royalty has even worn his stuff. But although currently Jimmy Choo, he's in his 70s now, he's sitting on a net worth of about $50 million. The company Michael Kors Holding agreed to purchase the Jimmy Choo company for 896 million pounds, which worked out to be $1.2 billion. So there you go. One of the most renowned shoe designers in the entire world came from the country of Malaysia. That's definitely something to be really proud about.
Spread across 13 states and 3 federal territories, with each territory and state having its own separate flag, which is a little bit different from regular countries. For example, Selangor Darul Asan, with the capital Shah Alam, is the largest state in the country, with a total estimated population of 5,874,100 people. But for landmass, this has to go to Sarawak, with a total landmass of 124,450 kilometers square. And although these different states and territories have their own flag, which is very interesting, they also have their very own license plate letters. Now these are prefix license plate, and they're all alphabetical, and out of all these states and federal territories, none of them are vowels except for Perak Darul Rezdoan, which has the letter A for its license plates. So we got all these different states, we've got all these different cities within it. My question is, what is the capital of Malaysia? And that goes to Kuala Lumpur, which is not only the capital, but the only Alpha World city in Malaysia. And basically what that means, it's the only city that competes on a global economic scale. Now its population is roughly 1.73 million people in its federal area. And throughout its federal territories, which is approximately 243 kilometers square, it has 866.1 people living per square kilometer. But if you incorporate its agglomeration of other cities, it's a lot bigger. Sometimes called as the Klang Valley, it has approximately 7.25 million people, and it is considered one of the fastest growing cities in all of Southeast Asia. As for Kuala Lumpur, it itself is one of the 3 federal territories within the country. And although it is the capital of the country, ironically, it is not home to the Capitol building. The Capitol building of the country, Perdana Putra, oddly enough is placed at Putrajaya. And this building was completed and in function by 1999. But Putrajaya is a city itself that is considered another federal territory of the country. And I gotta say, looking at this thing, it is one of the most beautiful cities that I've ever seen. Although it may be only home to 88,000 people in 2015, the city is considered a planned city in order to deal with the overpopulation from its next door neighbor, the city of Kuala Lumpur. And oddly enough, this city or federal territory is relatively new, as it only gained its status in 2001, with the city and the Capitol building being named after the first Malaysian Prime Minister, Tunku Abdul Rahman Putra. Now let's move away from human technological achievement and their buildings, and let's talk about nature, because Malaysia is really important. Malaysia is a very, very special place when it comes to our connection to nature and animal life. This is because Malaysia is home to the oldest rainforest on the planet. The Belum Temenggor Forest has a tail that is all the way from the Mesozoic era of history. Its age puts it at over 130 million years old, covering approximately 290,000 hectares, which is pretty much almost as big as Singapore, guys. Let's just keep that in mind of how big this rainforest is. And although part of it has a protected national park, about 2/3 of the forest still remains unprotected. The forest is is home to the original Orang Asli, who are aboriginals who have very little knowledge of the outside world, and still live in their huts hunting off the land. And unfortunately, one of the worst things about this forest, 2/3 of it is still in danger of severe logging. And not only is it just plant life that's important within this rainforest, but it holds 14 of the world's most threatened animals and has more Malayan tigers than any other place in the country. But however, when it comes to land, let's talk about elevation. When it comes to the country, Malaysia's average elevation is roughly 1,765 feet. And as for Mount Kinabalu, it is the highest mountain in the country. Now, Kinabalu Park is also a UNESCO protected zone. Being inscribed in the year 2000, it is the 20th most prominent mountain on the entire planet because of its topographic prominence. And this is because it's home to so many plant and animal species. For example, when it comes to plants, it has approximately 5,000 to 6,000 species, 236 bird species, and over 100 mammal species. And of course, it is one of the most breathtaking views in the entire country if you can make it to the top. So there you have it. My name is Dave Walpole, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. If you guys know more facts about Malaysia, be sure to put it down there in the comment section below because, hey, sometimes we miss some, and there's people like you who might be living within the country and can tell us more about the country from your point of view that we just don't know about. On top of that, guys, before you get out of here, check out Grammarly.com. These guys really help improve your English. Trust me, I need it all the time, although I speak English not perfectly though. So the link for that is in the description box below, and you know, if you guys really like what we do and want to support us further, they actually help give us money to sponsor our videos as well. And of course, guys, always leave your comments down there. We're always reading them, and we're always taking recommendations from you guys. But this is us just touching on Malaysia once again. This country has some great features, and deep within the rainforest, it is home to not just the story of us as humans, but to Earth and animals' history. A history that its people strive and protect and care for we as the rulers of this planet have a duty among the tall and the small. And that is how I summarize the people of Malaysia.
The food at number 10. Due to rich cultural diversity, it is no wonder that Malaysia boasts one of Southeast Asia's most incredible food cuisine. Its eclectic mix of cuisines makes this country a foodie's paradise. Whether you're looking for Indian food, Chinese food, Peranakan food, or traditional Malay cuisine, it has it all. Some of the most popular dishes to try are nasi lemak, which is a coconut milk cooked rice dish, as well as you should try the mee goreng mamak, which is an Indian Muslim dish made with yellow noodles and beef or chicken. Heard that's really good. Number 9, let's look at the multiculturalism. One of the most notable aspects of the country is a mixing pot, pretty much, of culture. It is mainly because the country is surrounded by Thailand, Indonesia, and Singapore, which is why it is home to an array of different cultures. This is also the reason why the country has a rich history. There's also a strong Chinese and Indian influence, as well as Portuguese and British colonial influences that you'll notice when you visit Malaysia. From there, let's look at the Batu Caves at number 8. Batu Cave is a place which shows not only the natural beauty of Malaysia, but also the rich cultural heritage of the country. A 400 million year old limestone hill just outside of Kuala Lumpur contains a century-old temple known for its vibrant colors. This is one of the most popular Hindu shrines outside of India, known as the Batu Caves. The shrine is dedicated to Lord Murugan, and it features a large statue of the deity, which is the largest in the entire world. A massive gold-painted Murugan statue, which is 140 feet or 42.7 meters tall, and made of reinforced concrete, stands near the bottom of a flight of 272 steps. The entrance to the largest cave, known as the Cathedral Cave or Temple Cave, is located at the top of those steps. The next thing Malaysia is famous for is Gunung Mulu National Park. One of the most awe-inspiring natural areas is the Gunung Mulu National Park. The park is important both for its high diversity and its limestone rock features, and is located in the island of Borneo in the state of Sarawak. Now, what's very interesting about this park is that it is the most studied tropical limestone area in the entire world. The 52,864 hectare park has 17 vegetation zones and 3,500 vascular plant species. Its palm species are very diverse, with 109 species in 20 genera identified. And Gunung Mulu, which is a 2,377 meter high sandstone pinnacle, it towers over the park. A total of 295 kilometers of explored caves provides a breathtaking sight and are home to millions of cave swiftlets as well as bats. Also, the Sarawak Chamber is the world's largest known cave chamber, measuring 600 meters by 415 meters and standing 80 meters tall. Alright, coming in at number 6, I gotta mention Malacca City. Malaysia is home to 4 amazing World Heritage Sites, and among these 4 is one known as Malacca. This historic small town is the birthplace of the Peranakan culture and showcases Malaysia's diverse, vibrant history. Within the town, there is a diverse mix of Malay, Chinese, Indian, and European influences that have all contributed to Malaysian history in some way, shape, or form. Malacca is not only known for its history, but also it's a popular tourist destination in Malaysia. Malacca was once a well-known international trade center in the east, thanks to its highly strategic state position for international trading routes. Next up, at number 5, Malaysia is known for Georgetown. Georgetown, which is Penang's capital city, is named after King George III. Its old town city center, kind of like Malacca in Malaysia, gives off a frozen in time sort of vibe. And the streets are lined with Chinese shop houses, colonial churches, temples, mosques, as well as historical Peranakan and European inspired mansions. The town is also full of different restaurants and cafes. Okay, coming into the number 4 spot, Malaysia is known for Mount Kinabalu. It is Southeast Asia's highest peak. It is 4,095 meters high, which works out to be 13,435 feet. And the mountain's granite spires and post-glacial slopes make it very unique. Ascending and descending the Borneo Peak is pretty difficult, so the hike can actually take days to complete, depending on the trail that you take or the weather conditions, and of course your fitness level. Number 3 takes us to Legoland in Malaysia. Malaysia is famous, of course, for being home to the first Legoland theme park in all of Asia. It was also Malaysia's international theme park. The park is divided into 8 sections. There is the beginning, Technic, Kingdom, Imagination, Adventureland, City, Miniland, and Ninjago World. Other attractions beside Legoland Malaysia theme park include the Legoland Water Park and the Legoland Hotel, which was the first of its kind in Southeast Asia. For number 2, let's look at the coastal landscape. The coastal areas of the country are also the reason for the country's fame. Malaysia is completely surrounded by water and consists of many islands. Langkawi Island is the most popular island in Malaysia, and the Langkawi Island is surrounded by the Andaman Sea and features beautiful paddy fields, jungle hills, as well as waterfalls. Langkawi is well known for its amazing opportunities for diving, as well as many other exciting vacation options. And we end this episode off at number 1. Let's look at the Petronas Towers. The Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur is the most recognizable and iconic landmark in the country of Malaysia. The massive twin towers stand 452 meters tall and held the world record for the tallest building at one point until Taipei 101 was built in 2004. The Petronas Towers remained the tallest building in Malaysia until 2021, but that was when they were surpassed by the Merdeka 118. They are, however, still the world's tallest twin towers, and a sky bridge connects both towers at the 41st and the 42nd floors, which offers breathtaking views of Kuala Lumpur's city center.
Cool. So first things first, we gotta talk about when it comes to Malaysia is its population. And it is a strong people of 31,394,000 people on a landmass of 330,803 square kilometers. This makes the country the 44th most populous country in the entire world with 92 people per square kilometer. But see, it's not just its people that makes it a beautiful place. As a matter of fact, it is also its land. For example, Malaysia is known for having an amazing cave network, which people come from all around the world just to see and explore. For example, the Clearwater Cave stands at the 8th largest cave in the entire world, being 215.3 kilometers long. But there's also the Sarawak Chamber, which is one of the biggest chambers on the entire planet. As a matter of fact, it is the largest chamber by area in the entire world, and it is so big that you could fit a 747 inside the chamber. Now, like many countries in South Asia, Malaysia has had multiple names. For example, Aurea Chersonius was one of its original name, which meant the Peninsula of Gold. And this came from the famous Greek writer and astronomer Ptolemy. But the current word for Malaysia is believed to have come from Malaya, which is a river in Sumatra. Now, the country also shares land on one of the biggest islands in all of South of Asia. This is the island of Borneo, and it is the 3rd largest island in the entire world. And the island itself is divided up between Malaysia, Brunei, and Indonesia. Now, Malaysia's also got one awesome record. It is the largest roundabout in the entire world. The Persian Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah is a roundabout that is 2.2 miles long, and it is located in Putrajaya. Now, we all know that South Asia is known for having a lot of English-speaking people, and this is obviously due to the fact that the British owned many of these countries. However, Malaysia was the first country to have an English-speaking school in the entire region. The Penang Free School was built and founded on October 21st, 1816, and it is still going today. And on top of that, it is considered to be Malaysia's oldest school of all. Now, we can't talk about countries without talking about its wildlife and, of course, its ecosystems that are protected by the UNESCO. For example, the country has 5 protected UNESCO World Heritage Sites, but one of them isn't actually a natural park, it's a historic connection of 2 cities. They are called Malacca and Georgetown, and the reason for the induction of these 2 cities is because they have had over 500 years of culture and trade between the East and West. And as for these 2 cities, they are formerly known as the cities of the Straits of Malacca, which were inscribed in 2008. But like I said, the other UNESCO sites are actually natural parks. And one of the reasons for this is because Malaysia has had a dark time in its history when it comes to its environment. And that dark time is a result of deforestation. Between 2000 and 2012, Malaysia had the highest percentage of forest loss, coming in at 14.4%, equaling over 47,278 square kilometers. And much of that is due to companies wanting palm oil, and it's really quite unfortunate. But however, let's not give up all hope, because Malaysia does have organizations that want to protect its environment. And with that in mind, the country is still home to 14,500 species of flowering plants and trees, over 200 species of mammals, 600 bird species, and many other amazing little creatures roaming around the country. And considering we're talking about the environment, let's talk about Sipadan Island, a treasure in Malaysia. Now, this is the only oceanic island to be 2,000 feet above sea level. And it's not just its height that makes it an interesting place, but it is home to some interesting little creatures as well. Firstly, in 1933, it was listed as a bird sanctuary, and although in history it has had territorial disputes between Malaysia and Indonesia, one of the most fascinating things about this island, it was created by volcanic rock. And because of that, it is home to over 3,000 species of fish and coral, and it is considered one of the richest habitats for marine life. And for those reasons alone, it is one of the greatest places to scuba dive on the entire planet. Divers come from all over the world just to see the marine life. Species like manta rays and sea turtles, which use the area for mating purposes.